You wake up without an alarm. You reach for your phone before your eyes even open. You scroll. You check notifications. You feel a small spike of anxiety when you see you have unread messages. The day hasn't even started and your body's already in a state of low-level alert. But here's the thing. Your ancestors would find this completely unrecognizable. Not just strange, not just uncomfortable. Genuinely terrifying. The real answer is far stranger than you think. Your body is built for a world that no longer exists, and you're living inside a mismatch so profound that it's literally reshaping your nervous system. Your ancestors lived in a world where danger was seasonal. The lion hunted in the tall grass during the day. At night, your people huddled together in the safety of fire. Danger had a rhythm. Danger had boundaries. Danger could be seen coming. But you're living in a world where danger never stops, not because the threats are bigger, but because you've built a system that convinces your body that every possible threat exists at all times. Think about what your ancestors experienced in a single day. They woke with the sun. They hunted, gathered, talked, moved. They felt hunger, and then they ate. They felt tired, and then they slept. The day had a shape. The night had a shape. Your nervous system evolved to pulse with that rhythm. Cortisol rose with the sun to give you energy. It fell with darkness so you could rest. Melatonin came when the sun disappeared. Your body was a clock synchronized with the world around you. Now look at your day. You wake and the sun may or may not be visible through the window. You turn on artificial light. Your nervous system receives no signal that morning has arrived. You check your phone. Suddenly, your brain is processing social cues, work demands, global news, and personal dramas simultaneously, all before breakfast, all before your body has even recognized that consciousness has returned. Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman has documented how this disruption affects your ability to focus and recover. Your ancestors' brains were shaped to handle one threat at a time in the present moment with a clear physical response: fight or flee, stay or move. Simple. But your brain today is flooded with abstract threats that exist nowhere physically: financial uncertainty, social judgment, professional failure, status loss. These aren't things you can fight or flee from, so your nervous system stays activated, waiting, never fully returning to safety. Your ancestors experienced genuine scarcity. Food wasn't always available, but when there was food, they ate until they were satisfied. Their body sent a clear signal. Hunger came and went in a predictable rhythm. The problem is that you live in a world of infinite, constant availability. Your ancestors never experienced a kitchen that never closed. They never encountered food engineered specifically to override their satiation signals. When they ate, satiety came naturally because the food itself wasn't designed to prevent it. But modern food is. And you're eating from a kitchen that's always open, serving meals designed to make you crave more. The anthropologist Richard Shackelford has shown that modern obesity isn't a simple problem of willpower. It's a problem of living in an environment radically mismatched to your body's evolutionary history. You can't willpower your way out of a mismatch this fundamental. Your brain isn't broken. Your body isn't weak. You're living in the ancestral nightmare. Infinite caloric abundance with no off switch. And then there's sleep. Your ancestors slept when it got dark. That's it. The sun set, the world became dark, their brains recognized the signal and released melatonin. Sleep came naturally. But you live in a world of artificial light. Your evening is as bright as your afternoon. Your bedroom has a glowing screen delivering news and social content right up until you try to close your eyes. Your nervous system is still receiving daylight signals at midnight. Melatonin never comes. You lie in bed exhausted but wired. You're stuck in a state between alertness and sleep, which is actually the most damaging state for your brain. Sleep researcher Matthew Walker has shown that this chronic sleep disruption is reshaping human neurology in ways we're only beginning to understand. Your ancestors never experienced insomnia because they never experienced artificial light at night. But you experience it constantly, and each night without proper sleep, your body accumulates a debt that doesn't get paid back by sleeping in on the weekend. It compounds. Your ancestors had a social circle, maybe 50 people. They knew who was friend and who was foe. Status was determined by real relationships and observable skills. But you're living in a world where you're constantly aware of thousands of people you've never met. You see their curated best selves constantly. You compare your actual life to their highlight reel. You know instantly when someone interacts with you and when they don't. Your brain is constantly tracking status in a social group that's too large for your nervous system to process healthily. The neuroscientist and evolutionary psychologist Robert Sapolsky has documented how social stress in modern environments triggers the exact same physiological cascade as physical danger did for your ancestors. Your body can't tell the difference between a predator and a critical comment from someone online. Both activate your threat response. Both flood your system with stress hormones. But while your ancestor could fight or flee from the predator, you can't do anything about the comment. So the stress hormones stay in your system. They accumulate. They reshape your baseline. Here's the nightmare your ancestors couldn't imagine. You're being hunted constantly, not by animals, not by enemies, but by attention itself. Every platform, every notification, every algorithm is designed to hijack your focus the way a predator hijacks the focus of prey. Your ancestors were never hunted by systems designed to be irresistible. They were hunted by animals that occasionally won and occasionally lost. But you're living in a world where invisible systems are winning every single time, and you feel the loss. You feel less focused, less present, less capable of the deep thought that used to come naturally to you. You're living in infinite choice. Your ancestors had a role. You were a hunter or a gatherer. You were a parent or a warrior. Your identity was clear. But you're living in a world where you could be anything, do anything, become anything. And this abundance of choice is actually producing paralysis. You're constantly wondering if you're doing the right thing, constantly aware of the paths you didn't choose. Your ancestors knew their place. You are obsessed with finding yours. And maybe the deepest nightmare of all is the one your ancestors never had to face: the absence of enough. They knew scarcity, yes, but they also knew abundance. A successful hunt meant eating well. A good season meant plenty. But you're living in a world where the goalpost never stops moving. You can achieve success, and it immediately redefines itself. You can earn money, and wealth still feels just out of reach. You can accomplish something and immediately start thinking about the next thing. Your ancestors could finish a hunt and rest. They could finish a season and celebrate. But you can't finish anything, because the system doesn't allow it. So what does this nightmare feel like from the inside? It feels like anxiety for no reason. It feels like fatigue that sleep doesn't fix. It feels like hunger that food doesn't satisfy. It feels like loneliness even when you're surrounded by connections. It feels like you should be doing more, being more, becoming more. It feels like you're failing at a game you never agreed to play. But here's what your ancestors understood that we've forgotten. Suffering isn't solved by becoming more. Suffering is solved by alignment. When your body and your environment are aligned, everything becomes easier. Your appetite regulates itself. Your sleep comes naturally. Your focus sharpens. Your mood stabilizes. Your purpose becomes clear. You think your problem is willpower. Your problem is mismatch. You're living in your ancestors' worst nightmare, not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to survive in an environment that should be destroying you. Your body keeps adapting, your nervous system keeps compensating, and that adaptation is slow poison. And that's why tonight, when you reach for your phone before your eyes even open, you might pause. You might recognize that moment for what it really is, not a character flaw, but a signal that your body is living in a world it was never designed for. And maybe, just maybe, that recognition is the first step towards building a life that actually aligns with who you are. A life where you're not constantly living in your ancestors' worst nightmare. A life where you finally get to wake up.